bit they are not in flow because they're haphazardly put together. But I'll just touch on.
Mm.
So first, like many people want to know, see in during Chandrayaan 2, the fifth engine was added to prevent dust blowback in its final descent phase. Now it's removed again. So this dust blowback issue, how is it being handled now?
We found later many tests were done to see this dust issue, and we are very clear now about the dust issue that after our scale down model simulation test, etc.,
Hmm.
the dust will not cause a big problem if the engine shut off is happening as much as we planned. The current arrangement is immediately on touchdown, soft landing, immediately
Hmm.
the engines will shut down. So it won't stay there for a long time. So this is very clear. Then in place of single engine, there are two engines.
Right.
These two engines will still have some dust issue compared to single engine.
Hmm.
Uh, so single engine being center is much better than having two engines. So that part is very clear. That's how we put the single engine last time. But with the single engine, we
Hmm.
cannot land this time. So when we weighed different options, the dust issue versus the landing,
Hmm.
landing took priority. So with the two engines only, we can land this time. So because our mass is higher,
Right.
almost 200 kg more. So with the single engine throttling, we cannot land. That is the primary reason.
Okay. Yeah. I remember seeing some papers which had CFT for two engines. I find I link them. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
then next question is this time we are seeing three TTC antennas, right? Earlier we had one in front of the top fuel tank. Now we have
Hmm.
top, front, and back. I
Hmm.
was curious if this increases the data rate or is it redundancy like or both?
Both. Data rate is also increased. The redundancy also improved.
So this last time during the landing you had this center live camera which did not show up. So
Hmm.
this time we could expect that live descent to work.
It will not be really live. There will be some transmission delay and
Right.
processing, etc. So it will come very quickly. It won't be very delayed.
Okay, okay. So it's not like one TTC is like 120-degree cone and the other is it like
No,
broadcast?
basically, yeah, it is. It is to give possibility of transmission even under different orientation of landing. That antenna pattern has to be omni. We have to make it so as to make it available to the orbiter. So that is antenna design.
Okay, okay. Uh, Many are curious. Post CY3, there's Lupex. Post Lupex, what is the long-term moon roadmap?
Right now, we have not defined any roadmap per se
Hmm.
beyond Lupex. Lupex itself is under discussion. Lupex is also not a finalized program. We are
Oh,
currently in discussion with defining the roles, responsibility, and finally get the approval, etc. So that is the next step. But we are looking at various other scientific missions, like mission to Venus, which
hmm.
is being studied, mission to study exosolar planets, which is being studied, mission to look at aeronomy, being studied, mission to look at the gravity waves.
Hmm.
Such scientific objectives are studied. Moon alone is not the only scientific mission that we are working on.
Right. Is it fair to say that Lupex to an extent Lupex approvals and that rumored MLM moon landing mission, sorry, Mars landing mission are dependent on the success of CY3?
It's always like that, no? See, if you continue to fail, then nobody will give you next mission. So there will be a lot of questions and a lot of doubts on it. So we have to make Chandrayaan 3 successful. And if you face failure, we have to start discussing how do we really make it further from this point. So it is always connected. Nothing is independent of the other.
Right. I mean, Vikram was produced in a record, I think, 3.5 or whatever, 2 point something years. That is very quick in space terms. At any point, did you feel like taking the Chinese or the old Soviet approach where you will produce two? If one succeeds, you do something new with the second, like sending it to the far side of the moon or something like that.
Nothing. I think they say one of our approaches to keep the costs low. If the costs are high, we won't be even allowed to do things. No. So
Right.
basically, we design with the all success oriented approach. This has been one of the approach we do. So we do minimize the models. We reuse the models. We don't produce too many standby hardwares, but except where it is necessary. But if you make it to another one more piece,
Hmm.
cost will be increasing, and it will become big problem for us. So if you suppose last launch, this Chandrayaan 3 is with a fresh approval and fresh budget.
Okay. During CY2, the laser Doppler velocimeter was supposed to be added, but for some reason it was not. And this time it is. Is it the same LDV that was on CY2, or is this like a completely new from scratch?
No, laser Doppler velocimeter was not there for Chandrayaan 2, and it was planned to procure from somewhere. We could not get it. We could not get it in time, or it was not made available to us by others. So we could not use it in Chandrayaan 2. We were left with our inertial velocity and other camera-based velocity measurements. Whereas then, after the Chandrayaan 2 problem, we decided that we will develop it ourselves. And our laboratory for electro-optical systems, along with our satellite center, developed this instrument from scratch and qualified it and used it in all our test program. And now it is on board Chandrayaan 3.
Okay. Uh, I think it was Surveyor 6 which had performed a hop after landing. Considering you're carrying a lot of extra fuel this time, what is the fuel delta that will be left? And do is if the rover does not survive and the lander survives after a lunar night, is a hop? Have you like discussions or thoughts about it?
See, that all depends on the health of the instruments on board. Suppose inertial system has to work perfectly, and we have to load a new program to take off from there and land in some other place. It is a totally different guidance algorithm, which is currently not on board.
Hmm.
So we can take such views and load it and do it also. I am not overruling such possibility. It all depends on whether we have completed all our primary mission objectives. Even for the first one day or subsequent days, also it is on and working very well.
Hmm.
So probably we can take such views.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Uh, yeah, the people were curious. Few questions around PM propulsion module. What's its
Hmm.
life, and does it does it serve as a relay to for data science data, or is it only a TTC relay?
Yeah, currently it is designed not as a data relay. It is through Chandrayaan 2 orbit only we are planning. TTC, of course, it can handle.
Okay, okay, interesting. Hmm. But sir, on shape, so shape's life will be what then?
Life is expected to be less than 6 months.
So this is your worst case expectation.
Always like that.
Okay, so it could last more. On that note, sir.
It could.
Okay. On that note, shape, like last time for Chandrayaan 2 on all instruments, we had papers in current science released. For shape and LDV and we still don't have anything. Is it like in pipeline?
After the launch, it will be released because we are not at launched these two.
Okay. Okay. Any changes to rover and lander to improve its life, considering you had time to redo some stuff?
It's not only for life improvement, it is also for improved contingency management. One is all batteries have been made, for example, in rover, 5 ampere hour is increased to 10 ampere hour. That means a higher capacity battery in case of solar power generation being weaker. So that may give some additional margins. On life, it definitely will not give because battery drains very fast unless
Hmm.
solar charging do take place. So battery capacity increase is not for that alone. It is also for contingency handling and mission life.
Okay, your lander to rover range is still same. Can the rover go further now or faster?
It cannot go further or faster. It is the current approach is same only like last time. It depends on the landing site and the terrain. How much it will go, how far it should go, should be decided based on where it is. If it is in a nice place where it has no difficulty of traveling, we
Hmm.
may go further. And also, it has to be within the view of the cameras. We have increased additional cameras for that purpose. So otherwise, in case we have anything to observe and then decide, we will not be in a position to do.
Additional cameras on?
Land up.
Okay, so yeah, that was one question. We see the front, there are two horizontal velocity ones, and the rear also there seems to be two lenses. So are you increasing your FOV as well, or are they on the same?
No, we are adding two small cameras in the rear.
Okay. Sir, for SSLV, we had seen a beautiful FEC brief.
Ah,
It took us back to that PSLV D1 failure, that long papers. Will we? It's been 4 years. Will we see FEC or some sort of brief or something on Chandrayaan 2?
Chandrayaan 2.
Hmm.
Chandrayaan 2 has already been told in so many ways. I myself have talked to everybody. Last almost 6 months, I have been talking about failure of Chandrayaan 2 and how we corrected it. Everything that can be explained has been explained in very simple terms.
Yeah, but it lacks that technical depth of the SSLV FEC report.
FSA report, whatever we have put in the website, you are referring
Yeah,
to that?
the brief, yes. How
Okay.
you handled INS and using Navic as backup, vibration,
Mm, mm, mm,
etc.
mm. Okay, that is that we could have done it. I do not see that there was any, but I thought that sufficiently there were no questions coming from anybody saying that failure is not well explained of Chandrayaan 2. So that's why we didn't do. If there was a deficiency of understanding of the public, you should have definitely done it. I don't think that maybe you are looking deeper into the technical aspect. Maybe that is the reason. But
Yeah,
public
also,
generally they have understood. Yeah.
but yeah, the general public perception is software failure, the like coding issue or whatever. But like how what happened and did the experience how the experience with CY2 shaped changes in CY3 like the new cameras and higher TTC antennas like that aspect is somewhere lost.
No, that all I have told to press. I have and multiple times I have explained that how learning from Chandrayaan to help in Chandrayaan 3 has already been in whatever best way I could do. I have already spoken.
Okay. People were curious about the checker marks on the ramp.
Okay,
Like, is it for calibration or is it like a distance measure? Like the technical people, like my audience is more technical in nature, so that is why such questions.
mm, mm, mm. Yeah, of course. Checker marks helps you to scale the dimensions of the camera images. No, so you can scale it with respect to the distance. That is a purpose.
Okay, okay. Uh, I was making a video on MIP, Moon Impact Probe.
Okay.
So I had spoken to Sayed sir and all, and the ending was he was extremely sad about the whole chase situation. So the
Whom you talked?
Sayed Makbul Ahmed, uh, Sridharan's team chase.
Okay.
No, that's not the question. That was context. Question is, what is ISRO's official stance on moon water discovery?
I
M3
didn't get the
or
question. What
like
what is what is that question?
okay, so
Official
generally
stand
on
on
Wig
moon
or
discovery
okay.
means.
So generally, if you see Wikipedia or whatever, uh,
Hmm,
water on the moon, this discovery is attributed to M3 on Chandrayaan 1.
correct.
But for many years, the Chase scientists, as well as I think Madhavan Nair and all that time also used to say how Chase had done it before M3, and it had done an in situ measurement, not a remote sensing one like M3. Uh, so, is there an official stand like who discovered water on the moon? If this is a question, what is ISRO's answer?
Why I should answer that question? I don't think that it deserves any answer at this moment.
Okay,
Chandrayaan 1 discovered water on moon. That is the official answer.
okay, okay, fine. Uh, I think the last is not a question, but more of some feedback, sir. I think you know what it is.
Yeah.
People are people are very unhappy with the outreach and PR and the way updates have been flowing in.
Uh-huh.
Like it's always like we wait. Our ISRO fans' life is we wait. You will be coming out of a building. A and I will come and stick a mic in your face, and you will tell us something. It's always the second and third party updates uh, that we are used to all these years. So, no, sir, one thing is since you have become chairman, transparency has increased a lot. like this problem which you had with semi-cry and all. That was unexpected. We did not expect people ISRO to tell us that you had a problem. That is very, how the culture has been over the years. It's failures have not been very publicly spoken about. But one thing that still needs a lot of improvement is how you communicate, how you outreach, and how you deal with the public. When I say public, I mean the social media side. It's 2023, sir. Most people, especially youngsters, which your outreach wants to target, they'll be following your social media and all, right? It's always like we get through
Correct, correct.
someone else. Why can't we get faster first party updates from ISRO's social media
We
account,
are
from ISRO's
we
website?
are now we are now doing we are now doing. See, only thing is you change your platforms regularly. What happened is earlier it was Facebook. ISRO used.
Correct.
There was a lot of update during Chandrayaan 1, Chandrayaan 2, Mars orbiter mission, etc. in Facebook. But now nobody uses Facebook. People go into Instagram. We don't have an Instagram account. Then they went into Twitter. So we didn't create a Twitter account. We have an internet site, website, internet website. There we do update. People don't see website. They see only Twitter. So it's not our problem. See, it's a generation change. So only thing is, we will have to change with the changing times. So Twitter updates are now being happening. We announce things in Twitter, and that is becoming news. And subsequent details are given in the website. So we are slowly changing with the times, but of course, we understand that we are not a social media organizer. We are a scientific organization. I don't think that any other scientific organization publish this much of information of their work than what ISRO does.
Sir, it's correct in a way, but this is despite having a dedicated outreach department in whose job
We don't have
is
a. Yeah, I think your understanding of our outreach department is very, very not very good. Our outreach department is one or two people. That's all. See, we do not do such large scale, jobs for outreach work. We get it done through various centers and various people who are voluntarily doing this work, like scientists.
hmm,
They themselves come voluntarily to do most of the work. We do not employ any PR firms. We do not employ dedicated manpower for public outreach or even social media handling.
okay. In case of constrained resources, sir, at least we can get faster. Like, say, I'll give you an example. Chandrayaan, this LVM-3 Mark 3 for Chandrayaan 3 went into assembly somewhere early May. Then and
Hmm.
then, if we could have gotten an update that you are targeting a launch somewhere in this window, you're still not sure of the exact date, that would have reduced a lot of rumors. What happened later in May was there was wild speculation from all sides, everyone with their sources giving different numbers. A lot of speculation can be reduced if there is just
Yeah,
faster.
speculation is an interesting thing. No, in anything, speculation is also an element of uncertainty, which also add more beauty to the whole thing. So don't have everything need not have to be very clear, but it will be definitely becoming clear later.
Correct. But sir,
So we are not giving everything happening in ISRO is not announced on a day-to-day basis. I think that is not the job of the PR function. PR function is to create enthusiasm and interest at appropriate times. Not every day you cannot go on doing it. So while the assembly starts, we will not announce every time. Sometimes it takes a longer period of time. So there are many reasons for doing such ways. So let the people speculate. Let it also be an interesting thing to speculate.
okay, in that case, see, earlier we had OMPR. I think OMPR is now dissolved, right? I don't see references of it anywhere.
No, we have a CBPO, Capacity Building and
Correct.
Outreach Group is there.
Right. But sir, you remember earlier we would get these beautiful videos from Deku. Like for that time, 2007, 2008, when you had the SRE mission and all, those videos, that quality for that time was too good. And even today, I think the best outreach ISRO has done was for Mangalyaan. Everything after Mangalyaan has been downhill when it came to updates and updating social media
No, no,
activities.
Chandrayaan 2, there was so much of outreach. You forgot about it.
I still think Mangalyaan was better. It's opinion
Maybe,
based.
but maybe in Chandrayaan 2 time there were agencies and things like that were there. None of that we are having it today.
Are you taking the quiet approach for three, or will it?
Pre- Precisely. Our job is to do the mission successful.
Okay, is it only for CY3 or are you going to take this approach for?
Yeah, most of the work which we are doing is like that only. In the recent times, we you would have watched RLV. You never heard about it until we succeeded. So we would like to go like that, and our people should not be under pressure to for public outreach. We have to do the job and succeed it, and that is more important than anything else.
RLV is understandable because the nature of the mission was like that. Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, um, the like sir, the problem is lack of inspiration, right? Like if I tell you my story, I got to know about ISRO during Mangalyaan time. Like
uh-huh.
our all generation, I think has learnt about NASA first, and then ISRO. That there is a space
I think
agency.
you are. I think you are totally mistaken. I go around the country, meets thousands of students. I am
Hmm.
not. I am not getting that picture.
The
Everybody is
current,
aware of ISRO.
sure,
Yeah.
current generation, fine.
So, yeah, current generation only I need to worry about. What I should worry about past generation.
That is fine. But now are you tackling the next frontiers? Uh, see, in future we'll have all these image generators, like AI image generators, where you type and
Hmm.
get an image what you want. I tried this
Correct.
new mid-journey model, and whenever
Uh,
I ask for a ISRO rocket, it generates a NASA
hmm.
rocket. The reason being NASA has millions of CC0 copyright-free images in public. So they will always end up dominating this future scene whenever someone generates a rocket. Currently, if you see
That we,
ISRO's,
that I can't help. See, the reason is they have been working with the rockets for so many years.
correct.
Their rockets were there existing for, and they were mightier and number-wise they are larger. But then let me ask you why they are not doing it for the Chinese rockets?
Uh, that's a
Why you do not
different
get a why you do not get a rocket print from that the Chinese rocket? Why is it so?
that nation's signature is a bit different.
Why it is not coming from why Ariane 5 is not being depicted? Why our Japanese rockets are not being H2A is not shown? The
Correct.
reasons are simple. Reasons are simple because they have intentionally put it like that. The whole software and the architecture is revolved around the American images and American system. So don't blame us for what
No,
the
no.
AI thing gives.
I'm not blaming, but in the
Yeah,
future, as you go, it will be great if you
yeah.
could release more images per mission.
That is okay. That is understandable. But if
Yes.
some software gives some junk output to that, I am not
No, no,
responsible for
I'm
that.
not blaming you for that. But in the future,
Yeah, yeah,
sir,
I can only tell you that there is sufficient. See, you look at your capture. You have put two nice images of LVM3 and PSLV. In the LVM3 itself, shown is an old version of the LVM3. Though the new version of the LVM3 plenty are available. You have not used it.
that
So
is
you
there is a reason.
there are plenty of images available for LVM3 itself. You simply search it. I can guarantee you get 100 images of LVM3 today in the
Yeah,
website,
yeah. The reason for
internet.
this is I do not that logo changing affects the SEO etc. So that is why I don't want to change.
Okay.
Huh.
I'm only telling that this is not because there are not lack of images. It's the softwares are doing like that. That's not my problem.
Right.
There is
No,
enough of images that we have put in the public website everywhere.
correct. No, sir. It's just a suggestion if we could get more images
Uh,
per mission.
True,
And
true. But we have a limitation of publishing too many because it should give only a reasonable amount of information. So to that extent, we will be placing.
correct. Like see Chandrayaan 3, CY3, the images are
Correct.
very few. And
Yeah.
the social media generation wants more images to talk about it. Like,
You are looking into the camera and eyes and things. There are hundreds of other people looking into it. So we have to be careful.
okay, fine. Uh, do you mind if I ask you questions outside Chandrayaan 3?
Yeah, you can ask.
Sure. No, because this topic of the interview was Chandrayaan 3, so I don't want to.
No, no, nothing. I think you can speak whatever you wish.
Okay. Some like Aditya L1.
Hmm.
Aditya L1 is one mission which has been like hyper secret in terms of updates. What
Who said? It's not at all secret. Every time somebody asks me a question, I answer. There is nothing secret about it.
it's not like that. It's only recently that we started getting the final how it looks and everything.
Yeah,
We were
when it
seeing
is reaching
different pattern.
final phase only, till we can talk about the final. No? Until then, when payloads are not delivered, how do I speak about the mission?
Okay, I heard rumors. There is no source to this rumor that you had problems with your coronagraph.
I am not aware of any problem with the coronavirus. It is already final testing is going on and getting integrated with the satellite.
Okay, I'll just type this. Okay. So is there a launch window for it?
Of course, it had a problem in the beginning when the development was going on. Now the development is over, the flight model is made and supplied.
Okay, okay. What is there was speculation that this launch window is dependent on equinoxes. Is it true? Like, are you
Yeah, it is. It is dependent on equinoxes
okay?
because
And
we have to launch in August. Otherwise it will get delayed to next year.
okay, interesting. Shukrayaan. What is the status, sir? Because we heard it's not officially funded, so it's not an official mission as such, but you are pursuing it.
No, I have not named anything as Shukrayaan. We have called a mission to Venus. That is a
Okay,
name today. There is no Shukrayaan. Some media people are writing.
okay,
And the mission to Venus, we have already defined the payloads, etc. And after consulting with so many scientists and instrument builders across the nation, and last 1 or 2 years, we were tried to develop the scientific objective of that mission through collaborative work of Indian institutions and many workshops, seminars were held to sharpen that definition and bring as many scientists to make use of this outcome from this mission. So those processes are over. Reasonably, the instruments definition has been completed, and we have also prepared the required project reports, cost, etc., and submitted to government. And we will go through some review process internally to get approval. Until approval starts, we cannot do any work on it. We cannot spend money on it.
okay. This recent CAD renders, we had seen a small lander type on Shukrayaan. It looked like one of the NASA's small Venus lander. I can't don't know the name, but is it still there, or can you talk about that lander on the CAD model?
I am not aware of the CAD model you are referring to.
Okay, this is one that comes in presentations.
I have not seen. Some people, maybe some institutions would have spoken about their interest, but the finalized version, I am not able to comment about it.
Okay. And for Mangalyaan 2, you had announced a announcement of opportunity long time back, I think few 5, 6 years back, I think. What is up with Mom 2 or and uh, recently
Yeah,
for
Mangalan, yeah. Mom too, I am not able to find sufficient scientific interest or objective to define a second mission. So unless there is a definiteness on the scientific mission or objective,
hmm,
just going once again won't help us. So we are exploring for good scientific thought, good experiments, including landing, etc., are not coming. Then we may not take it up. So the current state is like that. Unless there is a scientific community are interested, ISRO has no point in doing it. It is meant for the scientific community for exploratory purpose. We are doing it.
correct,
So I am waiting for such. We are continuing the dialogue. We are continuing for various institutions who can work on it. Of course, ISRO can make a satellite, launch it, reach Mars, and land also. But what exactly you are going to do with that? That is a
correct, correct,
question we are trying to find, which I
correct.
have not satisfactory answers are not come yet.
Yeah, that is fair. Recently for this Moon Village Association thing is going on. They had a
Yes,
live stream on EduSat IRS.
correct.
There, Srimati S. Meghala, she mentioned Mars landing mission MLM is being thought of. That is MMOM too, or is this something completely different you're looking at?
Who is speaking about? I am not aware of. Who spoke about that?
Srimati S. Meghala, Megala.
There are hundreds of such discussions take place.
Okay.
Going to Indian space station, you can hear going to
Mm-hmm.
Indian person landing on moon. You know, people make ideas and concepts, and in talks they will deliver futuristic ideas.
Right.
All that I cannot answer because I can answer with regard to our defined type of programs. But I
Correct.
can also have goals like that. Okay, we are creating a Mars habitat of Indians. Good
Mm-hmm.
idea. having a space station around Mars also a good idea. So
Right.
there are good ideas plenty, including landing on Mars and things like that you mentioned, what Mekhala mentioned. Okay, all these are aspirations to go, but we have to convert that into final programs, no, with very clear definition.
Correct. One thing is, it looks, I mean, you tell me, NGLV looks like at least it's 5 to 10 years away, mean max range if we take. Is it fair to say that?
I don't want it to be like that. We are trying to make it shorter. So one of the key element is the engine, the locksmith engine, which is part of that NGLV. So we have taken an action to design the engine. Once the engine is ready, it is much shorter than the 10 years you mentioned. If the engine is not there, it can be longer. So realizing that aspect, we a locksmith engine which is throttleable. We have already started the program. Last 6 months, we have completed the engine design. I have taken a review of the engine design, and currently I have a preliminary design document of the engine right away with us.
Oh,
Now, detailed design will be taken up, and we are going to fund it
hmm.
separately to make accelerate that program.
Okay.
And we have all facilities today to make that engine, and because we have already created the 200-ton engine uh, manufacturing and testing capability, so we should be able to do it faster. And once the engine is there, rest of the part of the rocket is much simpler, except landing part, which is definitely critical. So what we'll do is the landing part, we will do a demonstration mission through another technology development vehicle,
Hmm.
TDV, which we are already having for that Gaganyaan, and use it as a landing demonstration. For that, we have already made a throttle engine. We
Hmm.
tested it also. Because engine converted to throttle engine has already been tested.
Right.
So with that, we are planning a landing demonstration mission using a small vehicle. So by parallel action, NGLV inputs will be done faster. So I hope that we can do it maybe 5 years or so. It should not be 10 years. If it is 10 years, it doesn't serve the purpose.
Right, because over the years, like new chairmans and new terms we have seen, right? There was ULV, then came HLV. Then when you were VSC director, we saw different versions of HLV. HLV became reusable that time. Earlier, HLV was like saw lots of S250, S200s, etc. Uh, this has been going on since a decade plus. It looks like now things are in action. On that note, this admire that you mentioned, when can we expect? I know you can't give exact timeline, but what is the latest update on Admire? Is it still called Admire? Admire.
Yeah, it is called Admire. In fact, I can tell you, it's only I made the proposal when I was director of ESSC. Of course, I couldn't get approval at that time for that project
Hmm.
from department and government.
Hmm.
So currently that revised report. So we converted that into the test vehicle for Gaganyaan. At least that much we could do. And we are now working on the Admire configuration. Already a revised project report is in front of me, and we are planning to fund it in a small funding to go ahead. And I am telling you, Admire, that engine test happened
Hmm.
after I have become the chairman. We have taken the engine throat level engine because engine test we did,
Right, right.
and now that that technology we have got, and engine is very beautifully getting throttled with a revised control system. And the vehicle is also fully designed. The test vehicle TVD1, which we are flying for Gaganyaan, is actually designed for becoming Atmare also. And all in the enveloped conditions are considered for developing that rocket. So the same rocket can really be used for that Atmare. Only
Hmm.
thing to add are the control surfaces as well as the landing lugs, which currently designs are being done. So we are hopeful of getting it done with the approval.
Okay. Do do you have kind of reusable L40 experience? I mean, what happened with D1's L40 boosters? GSLV D1, Mark II D1.
What is D1?
Uh,
There was no. What is the D1
so
history?
D1 fired on pad, right? But the solids, like that fire on pad, the L40 boosters
No,
ignited.
that same boosters only took off after some 20 days.
Oh, so it technically it can be called that reusable booster, L40.
That is not called reusable. The only engine only was ignited. It doesn't flew. So engine ignited, shut down again, refurbished and refilled. That's all. So it is not reusable. Reusability is after completing the mission, you are recovering it and reusing it.
Okay, okay, okay. Now that, okay, if suppose best case NGLV takes say 7 years, let's consider 7 years. And SC200 should hopefully be operational in a couple or 3 years or whatever. So SC200's life will be limited only to LVM3. What about like we have spent what two almost 2 decades or 1.5 decades on this engine. Uh, many are saying this and kind of agree that uh, I mean engineering wise you gained a lot of expertise in with SC200. But the usefulness of SC200, is it going to be too limited considering you have spent 2 decades, almost 2 decades on this?
Yeah, it will appear like that today. To me, also, it appears like that. But I can't predict everything in the future now. It is definitely, see, if you look at Russia, and I have seen how many engines they would have developed over the
Right,
years. So many engines they developed, but how many they have flown actually in rockets? Very limited numbers.
right,
So it is a story of any nation to have gone through experience and developing high capability. They have developed four engine clustered ones generating thousands of tons. Such complex engines, beautiful. If you go and see
right,
their engine factory, engine development history, you will be surprised to see. And
right,
same thing happened in the US also. So all these developments have their contribution, but don't think that some of them life would be very less. For example, Buran, they developed engines are
right,
now only one, flown only once. Over
right,
after that, it is shelved. So geopolitical, the technological changes may make everything very, very good at some point in time and very bad at some other point in time. Let's not worry about all of that.
right,
Today, what is most important is whether you are learning the technology of 200-ton class, high pressure, regenerative, for example, staged combustion cycle engine. When you make it, you become expert in that. So, and with that expertise only, I am able to think about a locksmith an engine of 100-ton class. Otherwise, I would never have confidence to even to design a new engine.
right. I asked this because recently I had watched that UNOSA 2009 presentation.
Hmm.
There was this human moon landing concept by ISRO,
Hmm.
and that whole thing
Hmm.
dependent on SC200. It's almost like everyone was expecting SC200 to be ready in early like 2014, 15 timeline. I think
Hmm.
you had also said in 2016 that we'll have a static fire in 6 months or something. I can't find the article. When you were LP at LPSC or IPRC, I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, we were planning to do it in Ukraine at that point in time.
Okay, so now fully everything has been at IPRC.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, do you want to talk about the failure of like this turbine pressure loss? Do you have any update?
No, I don't want to speak about that today because we are further, now the engine is removed that we are inspecting it. Let some
Okay,
more data come because nothing
okay,
more has come.
yeah, fair. Sir,
It just it reached from the test stand to the assembly hall only yesterday. So we'll have to see.
okay, it looks beautiful though. Uh,
Yeah.
on on that note, since you could have some sort of performance delta in this phase of transition of LVM to NGLV, like even if NGLV is ready in 7 years, it won't immediately be production ready, sort of, right? You'll have a D1 test, D2 test, etc. Uh, can your docking, if there is some big science mission you want to do and you require a higher delta V, can the docking tech that you're developing, some sort of propulsion module, in orbit propulsion module, can that like fulfill that delta for that time being?
See, many things can be done by LVM3, let us understand. And if you are able to increase the payload capability, say 6 ton, it can do most of the mission. NGLV is not meant for that type of capability of docking or taking to payload or in. So that is not the purpose. The NGLV's purpose is to bring down cost and bring you reusability. So it doesn't stop any missions. Even with LVM3, we can do it at a higher cost. None of this, all of these missions can be done.
Okay, okay, fine. Any update? I think you want to. You have to leave. I think. One last thing I'll ask. Any
Yeah.
update on your future missions? You have Chandrayaan 3, Aditya, and the docking experiment. So should we expect it sooner, like this year or next year?
Which experiment? Which one you are
As
referring
in
to?
your SpadeX.
SpadeX. Okay. There are many SpadeX also getting ready. We are getting Exposat getting ready. Chandrayaan, sorry, Aditya L1 getting ready. We have INSAT 3DS to be launched. We had test vehicle for Gaganyaan. We have two PSLV missions to be launched. Additionally, other than these two, Aditya and Exposat, then we have NISR to be launched. So there are plenty in the pipeline.
Okay. Uh, okay, sir. I think one more question and one more request. I'm sorry, sir. One question is, I think you are supposed to fly TDS this year or early next year, technology demonstration satellite. Will it have
Uh,
a nuclear power generator? Because there was a old rumor that it will
yeah.
have a RHU.
Uh-huh.
Is it true?
RHU or RTG you are referring to?
RTG, sorry.
RHU is, of course, that we already have. It's nothing thermal generator. And we power generation is also a goal in TDS.
Okay. So is it so it's there. RTG is there on TDS.
No, I am not confirming otherwise. We are
Okay.
trying for it.
Okay. And last will be a request, just a request. Of course, I understand your point of view on outreach and everything. It's engineering driven organization, engineering first. But consider, sir, consider like what I said. And secondly, NGLV, it will be great to have a human name. Uh, consider having a human name to it. Some
Can
cool,
you name nowadays? Most of our naming is done by media people. Like you talked about Shukrayaan, Bahubali, like that. You can give a good
yeah,
name to me. Or you can send me some good names. Let me select from it.
sure. I explicitly
Because
tell my audience, don't call it Bahubali because it's not the official name.
yeah, even Shukrayan, even Mangalayan is not our official name.
Oh,
So yeah, our official name is MOM, Mars Orbiter Mission. There is no Mangalayan in any of our documents.
okay. Then why did you go LVM3? Like, why did you go backwards?
LVM3 is very important change because there is GSLV. After GSLV, we developed GSLV Mark III.
Hmm.
But GSLV Mark III is not GSLV or its derivative. So in fact, in the original definition, we made that mistake. GSLV Mark III, it appears by the name that it is a variant of GSLV of uprated version of GSLV,
Hmm.
which is not correct. It is a brand new rocket with all propulsion modules different than GSLV. That is point number one. Second, we also face problems of heritage as well as launch insurance related issues when we named as GSLV because
Oh,
GSLV had failures of many, and whereas LVM3 doesn't have any failures. So we wanted to name it distinctly differently than GSLV, not to be mistaken as a GSLV.
okay. Okay. Uh, I think we are ending, right?
Okay,
No,
thank you,
up to you, sir. Anyways, okay, fine. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your
thank you
time.
then.
All the best for the
Bye
mission.
bye. Thank you.